Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is out in theaters, and there are plenty of takeaways. Now, spoiler warnings. We will share some pretty big spoilers in the movies, so if you haven't watched yet, you still have a chance to go to the movies, hopefully, if it's still available in your area. And it's your last chance to turn back, otherwise we will spoil it for you. In 3, 2, 1. So the first thing that a Christian should learn when they watch this movie is that everyone deserves another chance. In the movie, Doctor Strange ends up in a universe where he's being held captive by members of the Illuminati, and they reveal to him that he basically it's his fault that things are going wrong in their universe, and Doctor Strange gets that perception in every universe he visits in this movie. Professor X says just because someone stumbles and loses their way doesn't mean they're lost forever. And I think that's a really important lesson as a Christian, because oftentimes the culture around us likes to, for lack of better terms, cancel people for their wrongdoings, and it's almost like no chance at redemption. And I think if Jesus was here today, I think he would not necessarily go with cancel culture. What do you think about that, Alex?
I think you're right. I think whenever you first mentioned this to me, I started thinking a lot about the story of Zacchaeus and how everyone said he's a sinner. You don't need to waste your time with him, Jesus. So Jesus went to Zacchaeus' house and told him that he had found salvation that day because of his faith. And a lot of times, no matter where we are with what struggles we have, as long as we have faith, then God's faithful to walk through those low moments with us, and we should do the same for other people and other Christians.
Yep, I think there are a lot of examples where, there are people who have not lived a good life, and, they've had the chance to turn it around. And I think that's just a big lesson where you can't really judge a person off of where they're at right now, but once you see their life in entirety, I think if you give that person a chance, they could show you the good they can do. And the second lesson that every Christian should learn from this movie, the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, there is, towards the end of the movie, America Chavez is given the choice to surrender her power to Doctor Strange in order to help stop the Scarlet Witch. And throughout this whole movie, she doesn't understand her power. She just knows she has it. So she has this ability to transport to different universes, and she knows she has that power, but she's unsure of how it works. And so when she's at this pivotal moment where they have a chance to stop Scarlet Witch, and Doctor Strange is right there, and she gives him permission. Up until this point, she was always scared of Doctor Strange, to take her power to use it for whatever they need to have happen. Which, the irony is, if you watch the scene, that's like the scariest Doctor Strange you ever see, and she's giving him the power to do what he needs to do. But at that moment, Doctor Strange tells her basically to trust yourself and to trust your power. And it reminded me of the 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 6. Paul is writing to Timothy and saying that I remind you to rekindle the gift of God, or other versions say fan the flame of God that is within you. And then in verse 7 he goes, for God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. And I think that's a good reminder in our mission as followers of Jesus to lead the world in loving God and loving people. That sometimes when we have a good sense of who we are and what our best contributions to this world may be, sometimes it's easy to be scared, to think of, well, what if I'm not accepted, or what if I'm not doing this the right way? And it's just a good reminder that we need to just trust ourselves, trust that we are made in God's image and that we're made in His likeness, and that if God has revealed to us the gift that we have to serve others, to learn how to use it for the good. Sometimes we may not know how to use it right away. And in this movie, obviously, I don't know if it was realistic for her to just understand it in like 2 seconds, how to use her power. But it takes time to cultivate that gift and to understand it. But ultimately, we just need to know that God has given us certain abilities, not superpowers, obviously, certain gifts.
Fortunately.
Yeah. You should have just given us superpowers. That would have been way better. But yeah, just trust yourself, and trust that God has put you in the position to use that gift.
And then the last point that we wanted to show is that you can't force people to do the right thing. They have to make up their mind to do it on their own. And this is really illustrated in the movie where at the end, Wanda goes back to her home in another universe, and she's with her kids, and she can see that what she's doing is really hurting other people. And in that moment, she breaks down and she stops the fight to be with her kids. And this is so true for us, is that we pour so much of ourselves into other people to help them and to walk with them, and relationships are very messy whenever you're honest and real with people. And in doing that, you can get to a point where you want what's best for someone else, but they don't necessarily see that it's the best. And in those moments, it's so hard to keep loving them and to keep serving them whenever they're not doing what's best for them. And you can see it clear as day, but they don't necessarily see it yet. And so that is one of the biggest points from this movie, is we have to allow people to learn and grow on their own. And we have to be there for them and love them as much as we can through the process.
Yeah. And I think that last part, Alex, especially, we have to be there. I think that's a lot of thing that a lot of Christians in general miss, because a lot of people think, oh, God will take care of them. Like, we don't, like, basically thinking God will do everything that needs to happen. And I think that totally misses the point on being, I hate to be cliche, but the hands and feet of Jesus, just being like Jesus. If Jesus had that mindset of God will take care of everything, he would have never would have showed up. Just let things keep going the way they were going. But yeah, that's a good point. So if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have any other lessons that we may have missed, or you think, whether you're a Christian or you're not, maybe you're just a Doctor Strange fan, like me, then you're awesome. But if there's other lessons that you think a Christian should learn from this movie, we definitely would love to hear what you have to say. Just leave us a comment below, and we'll see you next time on Mad Christianity.